back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Here we go, game number 1 of our final series of the night. VGJ.Storm taking on Digital Chaos here in this best of 3. I am Breaky CPK, going to be your host here for the Summit 8 North American Qualifiers. What is the first day here of the event? After the winner of this, we'll move on to play what is Complexity in the following round. The loser will still be in it. They'll just be bounced down to the loser's bracket. There's an initial stage here with 4 teams, and then ultimately the top 2 of these 4 teams move on to play what is Complexity and Immortals, respectively, to then see who moves on to the finals and then who ultimately moves on to the Summit 8 event representing the North American region, of course. So that's kind of what's on the line. Obviously, Summit 8, a minor in itself. Definitely a pretty big deal, and excited to see how it all plays out. So again, I am Breaky CPK, your host. I will be joined by a co-caster. As I mentioned earlier, going to be joined by Kyle, the captain of Complexity. Will be joining me shortly here. He did have to step out. He is in the game though, so but he'll make his way onto the call here in just a little bit. I'm sure by the time the draft is coming to a conclusion, but. So that's the plan. Yeah, guys, obviously we are starting a little bit early. Initially we were planning to start about 40 minutes from now, so I was actually upstairs enjoying my dinner, and all of a sudden I get some pings, some messages. They're looking to start now. So here we are, starting what is game number 1 of this series now. So kind of a nice pleasant surprise. We'll go ahead and call it that right here. Draft is underway. We mentioned this at the end of the last series that Omni Knight was going to be a contested hero between these teams because they both ran it very well in their previous series today. And sure enough, Digital Chaos, they get their hands on it first with that first pick. Razor going to be the response so far from Storm. And now the second pick, they're going to be putting some thought into this one. But I really love this about new patches, man. I mean, we just get to see so many different things happening as far as the drafts are concerned. Just hero picks. Again, no one's really that certain in terms of what truly is going to be working out, come a month from now, let alone later on in the patch. So they're definitely just trying things out and seeing what makes sense for them at least. So, this early on, a first pick Razor. I mean, first pick Omni Knight. This is not something we would see in the last year plus, but happening here post 7.07B. Ancient Apparition the next pick, and then Clockwork coming out for Digital Chaos. Okay, no, I was going to say, I thought they ran that combo in the game that they won earlier against Blue Pikachu, but no, they were reversing a Clockwork. That's what it was. It was actually a Sand King paired up with the Omni Knight earlier. But they get Clockwork, perhaps going to end up in the hands of Bulba, and MSS will be the one playing Omni Knight if they do what they did earlier. Again, it seems like Omni Knight in the off lane. It's what we should almost expect to see if he's going to be picked up here, at least in the NA region. The initial bans, by the way, let's go over those. Winter Wyvern, Night Stalker, and Slaughter taken away by Storm. You have Io, Earth Spirit, and Bane taken away by Digital Chaos right here.
Radiant team pick.
Oh, the call just hung up on me. I was like, what's going on? All right, so I'll re-enter the call, and again, just to make sure that when Kyle joins, we'll be good to go. Anyways, bans to follow now. We have a Tiny into a Broodmother, and then you had Sand King into Rubik from Digital Chaos here. So Tiny being banned out. Not one of the initial bans, though. He makes it through the first couple of picks on either side, but is banned out here. I'm sure, and I'll ask him once he does come on, but Kyle seems like he has some stronger opinions on Tiny as a hero, and obviously his teammate Limp has been known to play a pretty good Tiny for a long time now, let alone with this recent patch even. He's been an interesting hero to kind of see developed. Initially, he was one of those, like, people didn't really think much of him, I feel like, when the patch first happened, but maybe we're starting to see the potential of the changes to this hero, the new tree that he has, and the ability in itself. And despite having 0 agility, may actually be something here. So, Ogre Magi coming out for VGJ.Storm now. I believe Kyle may have just joined. Kyle, you there, man?
Yep, how you doing, Breaky?
What is up, dude? Been a while. Good to talk with you once again.
5 seconds remaining.
All right.
It's a throwback.
It is.
Like 18 again.
Yeah, what year is it, man? No, happy to have you on, though. So I've been just going over the draft here, obviously. Happy to have you join now. And one of the things I was talking, I mean, the way this draft started, we had an Omni Knight first pick into a Razor. I mean, this patch, man, it's bringing some fun stuff. Teams are just trying new things, it feels like.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's really got this patch figured out. And the cool thing, like, whenever the game changes as drastically as this last patch changed things up, I feel like there's going to be things that are just like low-key, just not balanced. You know what I mean? Like, just not fair. So Tiny is catching on, and I've seen CIS, China, and NA use that hero, and I've yet to see anyone lose with it. So Omni Knight is like the Mineski special, and it's just strong in this patch. I feel like it's really important to be able to stay out on the map, and heroes that have built-in sustain mechanics or the ability to clear creep waves incredibly quickly can always do that. I don't know about the first pick overall, Omni Knight, but hey, I mean...
DC's
well,
okay.
I'll say that both of these teams ran Omni Knight earlier in their first series of the day, and they ran it very well. It was MSS for DC, of course, and Storm with with Snake King. It worked very well for them. So I was actually talking about that going into the series. I was wondering if he was going to be contested. So something tells me maybe that has something to do with it. DC was like, we don't want them to get it, so we'll just first pick it, I guess.
5 seconds remaining.
I think I'd like a lot more as like a second pick hero. If you know you really want it, you can just like take your Omni and some throwaway support hero. But when you take it first overall, as you can see with VGJ's response, you kind of open yourself up to just being immediately hard counterpicked. So the Razor AA, or like, I think AA is like one of your best heroes against Omni, and then Razor is one of the only methods of purge left. Now that Diffusal no longer gets rid of GA, the only thing that can actually dispel it are the Razor E, Yules, and Brewmaster Mass Dispel. I'm sure there's like one or two more I'm forgetting, but those are the ones that have like coming to mind. But that's the concept behind the Razor versus Omni. And in addition, of course, you do just drain him in lane, and it makes it very hard for the Omni to play.
Yeah.
Radiant
no, that is a great point to bring up. So yeah, Storm reacting with their draft right there, and now we see more coming out. Chaos Knight into now a Queen of Pain happening. So 4 picks on either side. Is there a way you're leaning so far, Kyle, or you like both sides, or what?
Kind of depends on the last pick. I think VGJ, whenever you pick, I love CK, but when you pick it fourth, like, we played at Star Ladder, right? And Navi third picked an Oracle, and we went CK and they went Huskar. So that's the sort of scenario you're in, like, oh, wow, okay, we just, like, won the game. But most of the time, teams are going to pick heroes that CK has a really hard time with. Like the other day, EG used Medusa against us. And that's the problem with a hero like CK. It's very strong, and in a good game, CK will dominate. But when he's countered, you really feel like you just can't do anything. And a lot of that is because he doesn't have a built-in farming mechanism.
Yeah.
He kind of just hits one creep 3 or 4 times, then he moves on to the next one. So in a game you're behind and you don't really feel the ability to pressure any enemy cores, you kind of just run in circles on your horse. And it's sort of like Hidalgo in the desert scene, if you remember that.
I do not. I can't say
That's
I did.
fine.
10 seconds.
I'm sure there's people
time
out
ago.
there, though, that understand that reference coming
Well, that's
out.
the
5
secret. You just got to make
seconds
super
remaining.
obscure references. That
Radiant
way, anybody
team
that
picked.
gets even close to understanding what you were trying to do
Yeah.
is just like, wow, that's cool. And they don't realize you were completely full of shit and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Just made a fan. Sven, final pick for DC. On the safe lane, Sven. Be my guess.
It's not the greatest here as far as like hero
10
matchups go. I
seconds
think
remaining.
Razor, like this Razor's got to be in a side lane now for sure,
5
because
seconds
he's
remaining.
just so strong against either the Omni or the Sven. The Sven's a great matchup against the CK, but oh god, that
Choose your
Viper,
hero.
oof. VGJ is all in on winning the lanes. You got Ogre AA, 2 of the strongest laning supports from level 1 onwards, and then you have a Viper and a Razor. The traditional lane dominators since the dawn of Dota. So,
Okay.
we'll see how the lanes go. I think DC's draft will accelerate a bit faster, and I think, in an even game at like 15 minutes, Mason's Sven will be like one of the stronger heroes in the game. And if he can get to like this blink BKB timing, he kind of just kills whoever he wants.
Yeah. You think Mask of Madness is still the go-to? I mean, there's not enough changed, obviously, that you wouldn't expect to see that, right? Or you still expect to see it, I should say.
Yeah, I like the item a lot just because it kind of pays for itself by just increasing the pace at which you can play your game. Obviously, you don't want to like pop it in a team fight and get exploded at times, but if you just use it 2 or 3 times farming big stacks, like it's worth the investment.
Yeah.
And I just think it scales so well. Like Sven, you blink in, you stun, you pop your ult and your E, and then you can be silenced for 8 seconds, and it really doesn't matter. And since the change, if you don't care silence and you don't care -6 armor, then you don't care about, like, there's no amp damage anymore. And since Sven's going to give himself a natural +20, you don't really feel the mom minus armor really mattering that much.
Yeah. That's a fair point there. So into game number 1 we go. Best of 3 coming at us. The pause. Early pause. You know, I got to say, thankfully we really, personally, I feel like I haven't encountered a lot of the early pauses, you know, especially with the background that I come from, but I mean, maybe it has been more. I don't know. I just haven't noticed, but this one is starting off with a pause. So I noticed, yeah, you made the point you're interested to help co-cast in there. Obviously, you do appreciate it, but I can't help but wonder if part of it is because you play the winner of this series. He's doing some research here, safe to say?
Yep. I mean, I figure I'm going to watch it anyway, and you're going to get lonely, you know, casting this all by yourself.
Yeah.
And this way, I can just, you know, hang out, entertain the fans, you know, Twitch chat, one of my favorite collection of community figures in the world. And, you know, it's a win-win scenario.
Plenty of fans of Kyle out there. All
Oh,
right.
yeah. Dozens of them.
Dozens, you can say. Smoke up, 0-5 on the side of VGJ.Storm. They're heading towards DC. See if they actually encounter or not, but level 1 potential is definitely there as far as a kill goes. Ooh, that was close to being seen by Disruptor, but not going to be the case.
Ooh, Disruptor's going to die. He's going to run up this hill.
Think so.
Jimmy, no. Oh, Jimmy.
Something's telling him. Okay, well, HA Apparition comes out. I guess they all come out there. Smoker's off.
30 seconds to battle.
Oh, but do they actually know that they're... It seems like that they know that they're here. Yeah. Something gave it away, or they just feel something. The spider sense is tingling. I like to say. So, well, they may not get anything out of this. Actually, they're going to be patient sitting here, but I don't think they're going to be getting any kills. The bounty rune's going to be interesting. Is Sven going to try for it? He's going to see them. Yeah, he'll back off. So, not worth it. Give up.
This is a good move by DC. Their supports are very weak, and your Quap, like, you don't really want to skill your Blink level 1, so it's really hard for them to contest runes. So I think they're going to be happy getting 1, let alone I think MSS could have got that second, but he was a bit afraid. And this is kind of what I expected. You got the off-lane Snaking Razor going to be matched up 1v1 against this Omni Knight, and that's going to be a very difficult matchup for him. I like what DC chose to do here, though. They're dual laning middle against this Viper, which is really what they have to do, because their Quap would just get shreked here in a 1v1 matchup.
So yeah, Disruptor Sven, and then that means, though, Quap and Clockwork, although Omni Knight's coming to bottom, and now Quap's seeping to the top lane. So it's going to be Quap versus Razor instead.
Yep, this is, I have a feeling this level 1 TP for free thing is going to get changed pretty soon, because it only took like 3 days for people to solve that, hey, I'll just use these to dodge lanes. And you've now seen like every pro game having 2 or 3 lane swaps because the first one is free. And it's just kind of lame, because you kind of have to play, you have to do it. Like, you can't not lane swap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they do it, and then you got to do it, and it just kind of goes around in a circle until someone's like, all right, let's just fight.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, because actually the first series here, the first game that we saw was Blue Pikachu versus DC. They literally lane swapped good 5 or 6 times in the first like 3 minutes of the game. It was just mind games, back and forth, but obviously only the first one's free, but I guess it kind of sets that off. Like, you know what, we might as well continue the trend of going. Mason, by the way, middle lane, first blood potential, one more tick. Auto attack, yes, Fleet gets it. He just went a little bit too far out. That's a lot of dot damage, though, coming out.
Yeah, I like what VGJ chose to do. They've switched back. They're going to keep the Quap. It's really just all about this Razor versus Omni. And I liked that they dual laned mid with the Sven, but Viper Ogre crushes this lane really hard.
Yeah.
Disruptor Clock are both incredibly weak these early levels if they don't have, like, someone to zone. Disruptor is great at zoning in a 2v1 scenario, but real bad in this setup, because you just cast your Q and pray.
Thanks. Well, you're definitely not wrong, Kyle. Quap comes back to the bottom lane, so Koikfa, you can use the TP here. Yes, Razor's down here as well. It is almost like it's. I didn't even think about that with the free TP at the beginning, but you are. It's now that you mentioned that, and we're seeing it right here firsthand. It's a lot of this swapping. Is it good or bad? I guess it's going to be the ultimate judgment call on whether they change it.
It's what you have to do in a game like this, where you'll see this a lot in games where heroes like Razor or Ursa, Lifestealer, etc. are involved, because they're very matchup dependent. And in a good matchup, they will crush the lane, but in a bad one, they'll be mildly ineffective. So they really want this Razor to stay up against the Omni, because against Quap, he kind of just trades. The AACK might just stay up here, but I fear for them, because eventually this Omni will hit like level 5, and you just can't mess with them anymore. Like, they really don't threaten kills.
Well, they're going to pull him in there with the Reality Rift, but again, minimal threat, I guess, on top of that. Cold Feet, yeah, not going to be going off, because he just simply walks away. Bottom lane, Snake King's going for this gun to Queen of Pain. Not going to be enough, though. Now he's trapped in the cogs, and very likely going to be the death of him. The battery saw Queen of Pain trying to get in there for the last hit, but Bulbo will take it, and thus a 1-1 game now in favor, well, really nobody, I guess, but that one going in favor of DC.
The Bulba special right there.
Yeah.
Bait his core, hide in the trees. Be like, nah, I got you. Come in, swipe the kill.
Been around
looking
for a
at
while.
this top lane, though, this Omni, CK at level 3 is usually this sick timing, because you get the -3 armor, but Omni's got 6, so it really doesn't do anything. And they're going to harass this guy, but as you can see, like, he'll just trade back. He just really doesn't care.
Yeah.
He might die eventually, but he has so much regen. He has a mango to pop still. Like, he's going to be fine up here. And Clock found Ogre. They're going to get him.
Flee! Live! That's not going to work. Fairy Fire Magic Wand. I mean, he's doing everything to try to survive, and actually may live. No! Snake King came over to try to take some battery assault, but not the case. Just too much damage.
I really like the bottle pickup on Quap as well. It makes him much stronger in the lane, and it allows him to just control these double bounty runes that are right next to his lane.
Yeah.
I think Bottle is really underutilized, and you can also purchase it at the secret shop, Reiki. Did you know that?
Oh, well, I know it now. Many others do now as well.
I'm so triggered every time I see my my side laners like using Courier for Bottle and a mana potion. It's like, you lazy son of a bitch. Run to the shop and get a rune on the way, but they never do.
What do you think about that, by the way? Kind of off of that idea, that the new bounty rune positioning. You think it's for good or for worse or what?
I like it because I much prefer early skirmishes focused on the runes versus the shrines. The shrine positioning was really just there was no downside to running towards your shrine, whereas nowadays, like, at least you have to take a far more defensive positioning to utilize your shrine. Whereas previously, like, you'd fight, you'd get a kill, and you're like, okay, go shrine, and you don't lose anything. Whereas now there are times where you prefer not to shrine because of how out of the way it is.
Yeah. Bottom lane, Bulba. He's probably in trouble here. I mean, he's not going to get Cold Feet procced, actually, so he's trying to live. Snake King going to try to find him, but not in time. And he makes his way out. Queen of Pain also distracting them a little bit by that time. So nice getaway from the Clockwork. Bottom lane. He seems like he's a massive issue right now for VGJ.Storm. He's not only resulted in some kills, but obviously a distraction there and buying a lot of time for his team.
Yep, not bad. That's the sort of thing that you really love to do as a support. It's kind of natural when you're playing these like ogres or clocks or kunkas or whatever that you will be inevitably ran at and they will try to kill you, and it's very important that you want to utilize that, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And Squab actually in a lot of trouble here because he has no blink for 6 seconds. I think he might be dead.
I'm watching Chaos Knight. Ritsu's going to fall too, but yeah, sure enough, down goes Quap.
Your ashes.
That was a big kill from Snakey. They really needed that one. Up top, as you can see, MSS is actually top of the team's chart as far as last hits go. Top of the net worth right now, even after that death, and he is really doing well against the CK. I think Ritsu might have to go to bottom.
Well, you're talking about winning the lanes right here. I mean, VGJ.Storm, when it comes to last hits, overall is doing very good in that idea, as there's a glimpse back on Viper to Demon just using that simply to stay alive. That was a deep dive there from the Viper, but oh, look at this, the Smoke Ink. Bloodlust onto Ritsu. They're going to see this massive Ancient stack as well, and they're going to find Sven. That's an easy kill. Reality Rift after the Chaos Bolt. TP coming in from Omni Knight. Is it going to be in time? Purification? The Repel goes up. Does he have Guardian Angel? He doesn't just yet, and so it's not enough to save him in the long run. The TP is going to be canceled following. And MSS, it's just a matter of now, can he get anything done himself? Probably not. Yeah, if he has GA there, maybe something happens, but he's only level 6, and well, not a lot of Omni Knights will pick it up at that point. So
Nah,
Understandable.
You're not skilling GA at level 6. Get out of here. that item doesn't. That skill doesn't help. That might have done something in that scenario, but it's as you said. No one's ever gonna do it.
Yeah.
They're too selfish.
Man, that stack though, Sven is going to be liking that. Obviously after the death he's hurt, but when he's able to do that, the Mask of Madness, I'm sure, going to be the cue. Okay, Razor going the drums, by the way. What do you think of that pickup here now? We've seen some item progression.
I think it's fine. I think as Razor, you're limited to 2 choices. You're buying a Dragon Lance or a drums, and in this game, I'm fine with the drums. Gives you the speed to catch up to the Sven, make sure you stay in range, because his whole job in this game is just to link the Sven, and that's pretty much his contribution to the team fights.
Yeah.
If he can do that, they're gonna have a huge advantage for the most part. Lots of skirmishing coming in. Quap still has his ulti too. He wants to continue. He also chose to put 3 points in Shadow Strike. I haven't seen that very often, but it makes sense against Razor. It used to be something that would punish you quite heavily because his unstable current would proc you. But now that they've changed it, you can actually spam on Razor pretty effectively, and that hero doesn't deal with harassment very well. Plus, you can then just run away from the link because he's real spell.
Good point.
Don't know if I like it, but that's why.
Yeah. Middle tower, fortification going off. TP's in from the Omni Knight. Still no GA just yet. Almost level 8, so we'll see if he picks it up mid-fight perhaps. Keep that in mind. Repel's put up on Sven. Stormhammer not going to be in range. Actually gets glimpsed back right there. Ryoya. There's that GA, sure enough. Chaos Knight not going to be able to kill Clock Ring because of that, although the Cold Feet will go off, but they lose Viper, and Chaos Knight has to run with the Ancient Apparition. There's that Shadow Strike applied to the Chaos Knight. Level 3, as you just mentioned, going into this Ritsu. He pops the Magic Wand. Plenty of mana life back for it, but it's not enough for the long run. Nearby is Stan King. They're going to run after him now. MSS has plenty of slow and still much to work with. But actually, did he dive a little bit too much here? Nah, he's fine. He's got Purification. He'll not only survive, but maybe set up a turn. Sven's going to run uphill. Ogre, he's a tanky target. We see that often. He has a wand. He'll be fine. But the big picture, DC definitely winning that fight there in the middle lane.
Yep, the Viper had a full stick and a Fairy Fire that he chose not to use before TPing, and I believe that was the difference for him living or not. He has max Corrosive and Strength Thread, so he was on 1300 HP, but unfortunately just did not wand before TP. That's a huge kill, though. He is by far the strongest hero in the game. I thought for sure VGJ would just fight there and take tower, but they unfortunately got caught under tower. Otherwise, I don't think that Viper's dying there.
Yeah. So Ryoya back to the middle lane. Continued to get that farm work towards a 4-staff and eventually the Hurricane Pike in full. And Disruptor stacking again. Oh, he just missed that stack, unfortunately, over here at the top side. But Mask of Madness, I guess Sven really hasn't had the greatest start right here. So, yeah, it's still a little bit delayed, unfortunately, for Mason.
The big thing is that the DC got their wards down first, and they have really good vision now, controlling their own safe lane and just a little bit of control on the Radiant Shrine bottom. VGJ has one on the Ancient stack, so I think that'll be our next big clash. DC is going to try and pull their attention away from that stack and then look to just Zerg it down with Sven as soon as he finishes this Mask of Madness. You may do it beforehand, but it's relatively inefficient.
Yeah. Bottom lane, Clockwork, is he going to look to hook shot? No, he's only 5.5 actually, so never mind. But they see him with the rocket. Queen of Pain jumps in. Cold Fleet comes out, and Snake King also TP's in on top of that, but that's that great ability called Glimpse. Sends you right back, and they kill Ancient Apparition because of it. So yeah, well played right there. They do get a tower kill at the top lane during this, does VGJ.Storm, but losing the one hero on Qualifier. Seems like he's progressing pretty nicely after that kill now. He's able to make do with that. Middle lane, Omni Knight. This is going to be a lot of damage, but he should be fine. It is Omni after all. He's going to drums himself, so drums going to prove to be a pretty popular item in this game. I mean, they did buff drums with this patch. Is that something you maybe should expect to see every competitive game almost, you think, or is it not at that level yet?
It's more like a bunch of these earlier build-up items were nerfed slightly, notably Veil and Solar Crest a couple patches ago. But Razor's, and Dragonlance as well has been toned down a bit. And drums they just feel good. They let you stay out on the map. They give you a bunch of good regen, and it's just a nice item to have. And Razor really utilizes the move speed, stacks multiplicatively, so it's just a good item for him. It's never bad. It might not be optimal, but it's never ever going to be bad on your hero.
Yeah. That was interesting at the bottom lane, by the way. Sven, holy crap, they tried to kill him several times, but hell of an effort by the team to keep him alive, especially Demon. both with the glimpse and the kinetic field to keep out enemies. That was also a Phantasm use from Chaos Knight, attempting to make that kill happen. So he'll use Illusion at least to push this bottom tier 1 tower and get plenty of damage out before it wears off. So it wasn't a lost cause by any means, but not the most ideal use of set ability, but it will be a tier 1 tower kill. Meanwhile, Demon, okay, well that's a fight top lane. I'm just rambling on about the bottom push. And Razor goes down for Disruptor though.
Yep.
Not really worth.
It is, but it isn't. But they get the tower, and they can continue to maintain pressure on this bottom lane. So it's a big win for VGJ. They're gonna force this Sven to make a decision where, oh nope, they're just gonna back off. Never mind, I lied.
Well, that sounds like what you would have done at least.
Yeah, I mean, ooh, that had hit the Sven. He may have died there because he was standing in the damage amp from the Viper. Probably not, but you know, maybe. The key is really just that the Viper or the Viper Razor are really far ahead, but they're supposed to be because that's just kind of the nature of their heroes. The Quap is going Orchid, and the Sven is the Sven. So inevitably, these heroes will get farmed, and they'll be at a point where they can get repelled and go in and take out just both supports, honestly. And I'm concerned that CK might have a really hard time getting online. So game looks like it's going VGJ's way, but they need this to be the game state with their draft.
Yeah.
Disruptor Clock will inevitably give an advantage, but as these heroes are really weak in the laning stage, they'll come online as their cores have more ability to give them space around the map, and thus they can find kills in little openings based on just the way their kits work.
Got the Bloodlust, of course, being applied as well from the Ogre Magi around the board here, the level 3 Bloodlust, so seems like
I hate playing Ogre that way. They
it's
don't pay me enough to do that.
Bloodlust bot running around. Solo's pretty good at it. Favorite of his, of course. And they still see the stack here. Something I really wonder if VGJ.Storm is going to, but can they really, I guess, is the big thing.
They can't, nah, it's not possible.
Like camping the area, but yeah, it's a tough call. Chaos Knight, though, man, still trying to finish Armlet.
It's enough that they denied from the Sven. As you can see, Mason's forced to just kind of farm these like second-rate camps in the enemy woods, and he doesn't feel good in this game. And I don't actually know if DC's ever really going to be able to take a team fight. I think that they need to try and look for trades around the map still, but if VGJ is playing this right, they're just going to continue to pressure and just take down some tier 2s next, because they really... you can't fight into them right now. I really like the itemization from Yoya. He's just rushing a force, which is very good here. Someone had to buy it. They're going up against a Clockwork, and Viper is certainly the best suited hero on his team. But they get the RNG on Ritsu as well, so that's a lot of damage coming onto this tower.
Oh yeah, that's going to be tier 2. It's just a matter of fortification delaying it at least, but they're pushing bottom tier 2 themselves, so honestly, if you're DC, I feel like if you could trade a tier 2 for a tier 2, then it's not too bad for them. But there goes the top tower. Mason finishing off the bottom lane with Queen of Pain here with a double damage rune, so of course helping plenty. And are going to take it out. MSS, meanwhile, dealing with Razor. That's a glimpse back, though, again, glimpsing him away after the TP, so Razor has had to deal with that. Now, the static drain is actually still on Omni Knight here, so mitigating some of his damage, but he still has plenty, of course. As far as the skill set goes, that was Clockwork. Okay, going in right there, puts the cogs up, but he's in trouble now. Viper just running him down with the auto attacks. Nice GA coming out the last second. Sonic Wave in from Quakefa. Trying to get the turn kill and Razor outlays the cost strength for Mason being popped as he's running on top of Ogre Magi. So really the very scattered fight right here. They lose both supports on the side of DC. It could get worse, though. Omni Knight's pulled back in. Not enough follow-up, though, to finish the job. I mean, you see the life pool of a lot of these Radiant heroes, but nobody's dying. That's the big thing.
An interesting team fight. There were some questionable plays there, but you know, everything worked out.
Kinda,
yeah. Yeah, no further comment from me there.
Oh, come on, Kyle. We need the actual insight. We need the...
I don't know what to say. I mean, checking out the vision, DC just placed a bunch of wards deep in the enemy territory. VGJ placed another glimpse. That's a dead CK.
Yeah. He has the armlet, but oh, nice toggle. ulti's coming through, but he will die in the long run. So yeah, nice find there at least.
So out of position. There's no way he should be there farming that wave. But that's life. He might have felt safe because of that ward that's now fading, and there's another one on the other entrance, but they kind of just walked down the lane and killed him.
Oh, yeah.
They get the ward on the Ancients, too, and he's going to look to stack him again. Let's see. Over-under, I'd say 30% chance this gets a stack.
It's tough, man. That's a math. What is that, a 5-stack or a 4-stack right now?
I don't know. I'm really bad at math.
It's yeah, he misses it. It's tough. That's a lot of
it's a 5, I think.
Maybe it is 5.
I can't tell. The rocks are like zebras. They're just blending in together. I
4/5.
want to say 4. Looks like 4. We'll call it 5.
It'll be a lot of farm for Sven once he eventually gets to that. Now 17.5 minutes in at this point, so still has yet to do that. But he has the blink now, so Sven has definitely jumped up even without doing the ancient stack. Kind of in the middle.
And
of
that's
still.
the key between CK and Sven, or like the key difference, where about 5 minutes ago Sven was 1,000 behind CK. Now he's ahead and rising, and this is going to continue throughout the rest of the game. He already has 2 levels on the CK, and there's nothing Ritsu can really do about this because he's just a CK. He's going to run in circles and eventually get farm, but he really wants towers and team fights. That's how you really get accelerated on your CK, and it's very difficult. They're going to get scanned out by the Dire. Sven's going to TP away, and this is really good for VGJ.
Oh no, Razor, not so good for VGJ. Going to be glimpsed back, Static Storm, he's dead. Just a matter of how long it's out. Is he dead? Okay, he is dead. Sonic Wave committed even as well. Hits the face of Viper, but really Queen of Pain wants to blink away to survive herself. Going to pop some bottle charges. Speaking of that previous fight, though, going on, they do finish off Clockwork. As Chaos Knight looks like is able to get in there. So a trade of sorts, but Razor going down.
Not worth it at all. Like VGJ, they need to get more around the map. They need to be pressuring objectives, and they need to be looking to posture around Roche. They're itemizing for the early battling, like they got the Force, the drums, as you mentioned. We actually have a Hurricane Pike now on Razor, and CK just rushing Armlet. So no one on their team is looking to scale. They have no Midases, and their draft kind of revolves around this idea that they're going to dominate the lanes and then proceed to conquer the game. And right now, like, it's just not going to happen because of the amount of map control DC is going to output. Another thing I didn't mention, but DC also has like a couple of vision heroes, which are completely lacking on VGJ unless you count the AAW. And they have a Quap that really has no way of dying in this game, which is why I really like that he went for this very quick Orchid, because it's going to allow him to accelerate, and he understands, like, he just doesn't die. And he can just split push, farm lanes, and inevitably his clock or his disruptor will find him a kill. And in the meantime, he'll just continue to scale.
So it definitely continues to sound like that you're really liking it. The longer this game goes on, at this pace especially, DC is feeling really good. I mean, Sven just cleaned up that ancient stack, by the way. He just bought Blink Dagger, and he has another 2,000 gold almost saved up now on top of that. So kind of just shows you the acceleration. I mean, look at him just jump up the charts there. It's still Viper and Razor on top technically, but yeah, Quap especially and Sven are now just about there and going to be surpassing anytime now at this point. So yeah, continuing to look good for DC. The Hurricane Pike finished both on Razor as well as the Viper, though. So they have that nice tool for the team. And it seems like they want to try to keep some action going. They're going to make their way to the top lane. Yeah, at least try to push an objective perhaps, or find somebody for a gank. But Sven, closest nearby, he's out of there. So really going to be caught in another lost cause for VGJ.Storm as far as trying to find somebody. At the top lane, bottom lane, somebody's found. That's Ancient Apparition found by Qualifier. And the Glimpse will stop the TP and set up the kill for Queen of Pain in the long run, who now has another 2,000 gold himself. Well, what do you think Queen of Pain gets next? I mean, he has the Orchid as we talked about, but is there an obvious item for you?
Probably just BKB into Shivas. I think that's all he needs. If he has a BKB, he really doesn't die, and then the Shivas not only helps deal with all the cores of VGJ, but just more vision and just more survivability. And this is DC, as you can see, like, they really understand the game they're playing. They placed a sick ward in the enemy base just now. There's another one mid lane. Also, there's a fight on the Viper. He might die. He's very dead.
Yeah.
This is perfect. The Quap just is going to sit bottom. Now he has a sick ward. He's just going to continue to shove that lane. Eventually, someone's going to need to respond. As that happens, DC utilize their other ward. They capitalize. They get a big kill on the other core. Now they can look to maybe take a tower, but in truth, they don't need to do anything. They can just continue to accelerate and just, control the map. And 10, 15 minutes from now, they get a couple BKBs. Omni's a bit stronger. They're going to be good to go. He's actually going back for a Midas on MSS because, like I said, like they're in no hurry.
Yeah, that's when you know you're pretty comfortable with the game state and how it's looking. 21.5 minutes in, as you mentioned, going back for the Animidas and getting close to just about finishing it. A Radiance get up after. Yeah, that's gonna make this really a tri-core lineup, essentially, once the Omni Knight, especially, is able to pick up that Radiance. So that ward you were talking about in the base was countered shortly after, at least, by VGJ.Storm right there. So taking away some of that vision, but Blink just picked up by Ritsu now as well on the Chaos side. He's going to try to use it right away. Wasn't off cooldown just yet. And Omni Knight actually escapes.
they don't really have like enough lockdown to kill anybody is the thing. And even if they initiate, there's so much counter initiation potential from DC, like a blink in stun from the Sven, a glimpse out, a hook to combo break. Like it's just so hard for them to really take fights. And they also can't really rely on taking this game later on for reasons we've mentioned already. So they're playing like a team that's lost, and I don't blame them because there isn't really a clear play they can make.
Yeah.
And here's their best chance.
Well, the draft, it's set in stone. Obviously, they're making do with what they got. Okay, well, I guess he killed the illusion right there, but now Ritsu just trying to run as well as the rest of them. In comes Snaking though, pops that plasma field, now scaring them off perhaps. The Orchid Silence put on him. Koikfa just going to keep his distance up inside. Reality Red pulling on Disruptor, but at what cost for Ritsu? He goes down, jumping into the fray. No chance for him, really. That God Strength is going to be wearing off shortly for Sven, but definitely damage done. I mean, only the one kill, but it's on Chaos Knight. A lot used on both sides. Another victory, though, for DC. Yet again in these fights, and it just continues to go back to, even if it's just a 1-for-0 trade, or not even really trade at that point, but DC, they're just going to continue to get bigger and better. Disruptor, we'll put the glimpse back. That's might be a kill. Yeah, that's definitely a kill, though. So. At least they killed Demon.
It just doesn't matter. Jimmy, I've played with Jimmy before. He's just going to be laughing, and he's going to be like, guys, they got me. And he's going to look to his map, and he's going to say, Sven's farming top, Quap's farming bottom, IDC.
Yeah, life of a support. You know all about that now, Kyle. That 5 position.
It's actually really peaceful, man. It's a lot of fun.
Radiant's top tower
It's so much. There's so little stress. Just hang out, play some words. No problem.
I died, whatever. Team's doing well.
Yep.
Olympus killing people is tiny. All good. Bulba. Gonna find Flea. I don't know if Flea found him first or what, but something happened there, and MSS even comes over to make the kill happen. So nice find into Ogre. And you got Sven, the BKB finish. You talked about Queen of Pain going that next. He sure enough did. Or never mind, I thought he did actually. He's going to Lincoln's, so he changed his mind. It's Queen of Pain.
Ooh. I didn't realize that's actually a really interesting thing. I was looking around at talents, and Sven's level 20 against... Oh, never mind, I'm done. Never mind. Ignore what I'm saying. I lied.
That was... See, now I'm curious where you're going.
For some reason, I thought Sven was playing against Omni Knight, and he's not. So everything I said is just, I just threw it out.
But if he was playing against Omni Knight, I see what you're saying.
He could dispel the GA with the stun, yeah. But
there you go.
He's not. Omni's on his team, so that doesn't matter.
No, it's...
He will dispel the Bloodlust, though, so there you go.
There's something. Yeah, there's at least one thing that they got going for them. Viper's a hero that you can tend to maybe look to build a Silver Edge against for that break, but, you know, in a game like this, is DC really concerned about that?
You just don't need it. You're going to kill him with physical damage. It's just not going to matter.
Yeah.
I like they're switching up the items. Omni's skipping the Midas. He's going to go for Shiva's bottom lane. They got a hook on CK. He is 100% dead. There's the pop ult. Goodbye. AA dead too now.
What did you call that?
What?
Did you just, what did you say about the Sonic Wave?
Quap ult?
Oh, did you say Quap? Okay. I totally heard something else there.
What are you thinking I'm saying?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not even going to repeat it because I definitely heard something else. But all right, Quapple. We'll go with that. That's exactly what that was.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know where my mind was at there.
They
killed Chaos Knight, though.
Yeah, so the Quap bought a Lincoln because really the only way he dies is to like the CK blinking and stunning him. So he's just not going to let that happen. The Omni's going to go for the Shivas, and the Sven has just finished a BKB. So they're at this timing where DC will fight, but they just don't need to. They're just going to continue to accelerate. They'll exert more influence around the map and like kind of grow their advantage faster. It's already 5K. I'm sure it'll be like 8 by the 30-minute mark. And then, you know, if VGJ wants to fight them, they'll be there. But otherwise, they're going to hang out. They're going to eat some more cannolis, and they're going to wait for dessert to really bring the punishment.
Have you actually like eaten food while playing Dota, like in a serious match? You get like a snack break. Razor, by the way, he's dead here probably.
That's supposed to be charge. Good hook by Bulba. Great hook by Bulba.
Oh, maybe not actually. Okay, that's double current. He's a little bit too fast. He's keeping his distance, so he'll survive actually. So, well, now Ritsu though, he thought he could man up. That's not the case. He needs to run. Snake King does eventually die, by the way, to Mason. And Guardian Angel popped. MSS running in the face of them. Sven in the back lines. He's got the God Strength still. Trying to put the damage on Ritsu. He's going to get the kill on him, but he goes down in response. Just stunned up a little bit too long, but Ryoya now. Can he really man fight this? Maybe. Hurricane Pike pushback. MSS feeling the pain from that. Puts on the repel. And just going to go for the port out. And should be successful there. Another port out as well. And Clockwork, he should too. Also get away. So, okay, that got a little scary there. Sven dying and maybe some turn potential, but not the case. 3 for 1, favored DC.
The other, oh man, you can't do anything to a repelled Quap right now. It's going to be such a pain. I actually really like the Lincolns because the CK talent, a level 20, Reality Rift Pierce's Spell Immune, is really strong against Quap. You can at any point just blink in and W him if your ult's active, and if you get a crit, like he might just explode, but if he's repelled with the Lincolns up, like you actually can't touch him for those 7 seconds. That was 8 for some reason. So they're just gonna repel him, maybe they repel the Sven, but either way, it gives them like this easy initiation, and it guarantees their cores are gonna get off a lot of their damage before really feeling any threat. Invis picked up by Bulba. Jimmy's just running in. Jimmy's running away. Jimmy's
running in, running away, dying. What else is new? Bulba. Get him cogs up. A couple of heroes are trying to force down over the ledge. Mason, he catches Razor on the back line. So Clockwork's trying to live as well. God Strength pod, Sonic Wave does hit as well. Snake King with that BKB. He's going to barely stay alive. Just keep it on the outskirts here. And Viper now looking to turn on a Mason, but the repel goes up. Puts out the Storm Hammer on a Viper. Mjolnir buff on himself, by the way. But Viper picking that up recently. And Disruptor's actually the only death after all of that.
So Ritsu W'd the clock and somehow put himself in cogs and the clock outside of him. and then was just like sitting inside cogs pinging like, wait, what? Oh man, that's some Dota 2 right there.
Still in beta. Queen of Pain.
Top tower is under
yeah, this is interesting. Gonna find a free kill on Ancient Apparition. Probably going to get away as well. So Koikva, nice little find there. And I was also noticing the levels. He's by far the highest level 21 in the game. He's got the level 20 talent because of it. 30% lifesteal. Spell lifesteal, that is. Of course, pretty damn strong for the Queen of Pain right here. Making it very difficult to kill. And obviously, you know, it used to be the level 25 talent. Before that was 60% lifesteal, I believe it was. Do you almost think that this is, obviously it's not a buff number-wise, but the fact you get it at level 20 now and still 30% is quite a big. Could you say it's a buff in a sense, or is it overall
it's more just like better for the game's health overall. IceFrog did this with a lot of talents, like either lowering or increasing the value of the talent, but changing where you would acquire it. I like it because the issue is that level 25 like isn't happening in a lot of games, and the spell lifesteal, I believe it was 75% at first, then it got nerfed a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was just so ridiculous. It used to be you could just have like a Mjolnir buff. You could use a Blade Mail and take 0 damage and just like jump in and then cast all your spells. And this is just more realistic. Like you pick it up earlier and it gives you, like, it's not broken. It just sort of impacts the game and it helps you out, but it doesn't just drastically alter the strength of your hero.
Yeah. I think that's actually a good way to describe it there. So Razor going to pick up a haste rune. Scout out over here. Sven, by the way, did pick up an SNY in full, St. Ignatius.
Radiant's top tower
has that good to go. Razor is going to find somebody. Maybe that's somebody's Sven. Blink is ready, as well as the BKB. Now we're blinking at somebody. Chaos Knight goes in. The Static Storm throwing down, though. Chaos Knight's going to melt. The God Strength of Sven destroys him. They do lose Disruptor, but obviously DC, they'll take that every day of the week when it comes to the exchange. However, middle tower is still going to go down in favor of the Radiant side. They're still hanging around, but Razor maybe regretting that now. Just for the tower kill, probably not worth it. Sonic Wave, if he hits multiple heroes, finishes off Razor. They get the kill on Ancient Apparition. Flea's going to be able to TP out. But DC, a 3 for 1. Again, only losing Jimmy there, and sure the tier 2 tower, but we say thank you.
Probably I'm going to go for Roche. I like the call. Towers are like naturally going to fall once you secure Roshan, and this is a huge window to do so. There's no Phantasm up for the CK. They saw the Razor BKB before he died, so even if they were to buy back him, like you're just not afraid, and they just have so much damage. Like they're hitting this peak timing. They're going to get this Aegis. Probably get like one more item on every player. I think the Sven AC timing most importantly, and a BKB on Quap, and then they're going to look to just end the game.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about that spell lifesteal talent, I mean, the Mjolnir, obviously, again, picked up by Queen of Pain, so the synergy is ridiculous. And she has now And
You just see Ritsu's just having such a tough time in this game. He's 1-7, and can't really blame him necessarily. It's just a product of the draft. Viper Razor gonna eat the side lanes all game because neither one of them really wants to clear jungle camps, and they just don't do it that fast anyway. And you can't really do anything as a CK if you're forced to just outfarm a Sven. You're forced to make plays. And, oh, big glimpse.
Yeah, that was a glimpse.
Big by Bulba.
Bulba escapes. Oh, careful, he says. Careful. That was what you didn't comment on as well. We saw him break the smoke to top it all off. That was a smoke from VGJ.Storm as 5. They ran to the Ancients, and all of a sudden they're all exposed, and that's how we saw that take place.
Right after the Roach, they were at 10. Now they're at 12k advantage. So in like the last minute and a half, they're just going up. And even if they kill Bulba there, it's like 400 gold. That's like a couple creep waves, maybe a hard camp. It's just not a big deal. The only way DC really lose this game is if they throw all of their bodies trying to kill probably the Viper. Razor gets a huge link off on the Sven, and then they somehow just get washed. But I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to kill this Razor mid.
Going for it. There we go. God Strength. That's a couple of auto attacks later. He's at half lap already, and he has a BKB. I was going to say, will he use it? He finally does. Prevent the glimpse at least and stay alive, but it's plenty of damage done to him right there. So they're still hanging around as DC. And Omni Knight's now here, and got the heal. GA's ready. No God Strength, though, or at least it's going to be wearing off. Yeah, it's already worn off, in fact. For Sven, so 50 seconds before that, we'll be coming back up. And he did get the Dispels Enemies talent over the lifesteal here at Sven, by the way. So he still likes the idea of it. As mentioned,
it's good here for sure. You can dispel the Mjolnir buff off the Viper as well, which is very key. He also has a Spell Lifesteal talent. It's a little minimal at 8%, but it still adds up, and it's so much damage output too. Like, it hits everything in range when that stuff procs, and it's just so much damage if you get a couple lucky ones back to back.
Yeah.
BKB picked up on the CK, so he'll at least be able to like get his spells off, but I'm still concerned that pretty much whoever, like, look how far Qualifier is also. He didn't even go BKB. He went for a Bloodthorn. So he's just continuing to accelerate. He's doing so much damage. And you can see, like, this is the strength of DC's draft. Like, now they have total map control, and they're exerting their influence. And there's not really much VGJ can do.
There's that Lincoln's pop, at least, from Chaos Knight. And follow up, again, not really there. You mentioned that throughout this game. The follow-up to Chaos Knight just simply is not the greatest. When it comes to Stun Lockdown, Static Storm in the backline, Kitchen Ogre Magic, they will lose Disruptor, but does that matter? Mason runs in with a God Strike, Quick busts him on the side, the Sonic Wave sends multiple heroes, Viper goes down, raises the tide of the auto attacks of Sven. The Link, though, will actually prevent plenty of damage from happening, although he goes down in the long run. Double kill coming out for Mason. They lose 3 again. I've said this so often this game, it feels like they lose Disruptor, but they win the fight.
Yep.
And they'll get the mid tower. Seems like a lost cause almost at this point of the game for VGJ.Storm.
The downside of picking both Viper and Razor. I love both heroes, and on occasions you can pick both, but this game is really difficult because they have so many methods of peel on DC's side and 2 very fast and mobile cores that how do you kill anybody with these heroes? Like, they kind of want to walk in and hit you, and you're fighting against an Omni Knight who can at any point peel very hard, a clock that can hook in. This last fight, Bulba set up a huge 3-man Sonic Wave from the Quap. Was it Sonic Wave? I'm questioning myself. Okay, it's Sonic Wave, yeah. And it doesn't really matter. Like, Jimmy casts all the spells on the ground and waves goodbye, ends up dying, but it just doesn't matter because he traded his life for Razor BKB, and at this point, if he can do that consistently, they're going to win team fights anyway.
And also win the game. Of course, that's the goal here, and continue to be well on their way to doing so. It is game 1 of a best of 3, so no matter what, there's a response chance for VGJ.Storm. So I've been looking at Queen of Pain, level 25. Curious what he was going to go for. He does get the 20-second spell block to go with the Lincolns that he has on top of that. So it's you know, good luck getting ability. It was already so tough to stop him. You were even talking about that earlier in the game as well. It's just now he's basically free mobility. He even have a repel on top of that if necessary. At this point, it's really not. He's just going to be able to blink around, no stopping him at this time. So just gets worse.
This is the part of the game where I realized that I probably could never make it as a caster because
what are you doing?
my eyes start to glaze over. I get sleepy. I get this craving, intense craving for a cup of hot cocoa. and I really want to like, I don't know.
That sounds really
like,
good right now, actually, now that you mentioned
right?
that.
Tell me about
does.
it. Like instead, we're gonna watch DC slowly but surely control the map, wait for a big opportunity, and VGJ is gonna hold hands and be very afraid in their own woods because it's very dark and scary outside of the safety of their own base. And even here,
Oh,
Bulba?
found somebody. BKB links on to Bulba there, so not really the biggest deal if you're DC. Really getting damage at least, and he goes back in. Will catch Ancient Apparition. He may die for this, but obviously if it sets up, then good to go. In fact, Razor going to be caught now. No more BKB to be used. GA is going to be popped just very early in the fight, and they will lose Razor, who's dead for 100 seconds pretty
And the
much.
Phantasm that just died.
No buyback. Yeah, the illusion just getting melted right there. Ryoya here go down too. Chaos Knight, they're going to the backline. Just a desperate play. Something tells me we could be seeing the GGs coming out shortly here. As
Sven picked up a data list for that fight. Like, there's just nothing you can do at this point. You can see, like, he's hard countered for the first 15 minutes of the game, but Mason essentially just farmed this area of the map, and then eventually you just do so much damage that you can't do anything. You just they have far too much EHP, and they output so much damage that this Viper Razor, like, these heroes need to run in and force the enemy heroes away, but you just can't do that when this Sven is going to crit you in the face for 1,000. And there's an Omni Knight. Also, double force on DC was really big there. They're able to double peel and then reinitiate back in. And it's just, you can't play against that, you know what I mean? The link wasn't on Sven, so at any point he blinks in and determines who he wants to remove from the game for a few seconds.
Well, Kyle, I do have a question for you. How about them Cowboys, man?
How about them Cowboys?
Pretty good team.
Lost to Atlanta the other day, but I mean, I think we're solid. It's a shame Zeke's suspended because he's probably one of the best 10 players in the NFL right now. But you know, that's life.
I don't mind that he's suspended personally.
I do. He's on my fantasy team.
No, I know, and that's exactly why I don't mind.
My team's stacked still. It's okay.
You're
no
just
big deal.
fine. Ritsu, he's dead.
AC was finished on Quap, by the way. Actually, you know, I like to see that. That means DC's been talking about their items this whole game. I think that's really important. Something every team should do.
Even though they essentially have the win already guaranteed to an extent, it's still good to, you know, figure out what the smart plays are. There you go.
Right, now it's over.
Actually over. GG's called. Again, game one going to DC here over VGJ.Storm. So, I mean, the ultimate question is, was there a little bit of a draft issue here? Or was it just Storm? They had the idea in mind with their draft, couldn't really excel in the earlier game. Maybe they wanted to, and thus DC was victorious.
Yep. I think it wasn't necessarily an outdraft, more so of just DC playing better. I think their lanes were the big key. They really like CK laned against Omni, and he lost that lane, and there's not much you can do. You lose that lane. Quap did very well against Razor, and I really like when Quap can play in the off lane because it gives Clock like so much room to maneuver. He can control the enemy bounty runes, and that one time he found snaking, landed a kill. Like, these things add up, and right after that, Quap takes that gold, buys a bottle, gets 2 runes, and all of a sudden, they're winning both side lanes. So Sven's a little shut down mid, but like we talked about, eventually this Viper is going to fall off, and the Sven's going to continue to accelerate. And from there, you know, DC just takes the game. So give my MVP to Demon. I think he died for the team, notably, many times. And I think that he did a great job, provided information, keeping morale high. And, of course, MSS with the quiet 4-0-19. You know, just kind of what you come to expect from MSS. He's a pretty decent player with a very, very good haircut.
The fellow 5 support would definitely give the MVP to the other 5 support here, in this case Demon, so understandable. No, great team effort, though, for DC, and that means game number 1, again, going in their favor. But game number 2, a short break going to be happening, the Summit 8 North American Qualifiers. We will continue. Definitely going to see if VGJ.Storm can force a 3rd game, or if DC will take it in 2 to move on to play Complexity. Stay tuned, guys. I'm Breaking CBK, joined by Kyle of Complexity. We'll be right back after a short break.